Welcome back to another episode of Motivate with Coach Camp. I, of course, am your host, Coach Camp, and we are down here in these illustrious, bright, superstar studios of SRP with Mr. Derek Michaud. Okay, so everybody pretty much knows at this point. We've been out here for a hot minute, more than 2.5 years, well over 100 episodes. If there's anything that I feel like I stand for, the main thing is community. That is the whole point of it. And multiple times I say motivate with, and the with is always about us. And that's the truth of the matter. That's why I bring it up all the time. And today is no exception. Today is a great friend of mine, and he's all about community. And whenever I started looking through guest lists, and I'm so humbled by this, I have a lot of people reach out to me and say, hey, what do you think about this story? What do you think about that story? I got this person. Not everything fits the platform, and the platform has to be positive. It has to be inspirational. It needs to be about somebody looking out for other people. That's kind of the whole thing. You're sharing your story, but it is for the benefit of others as well. This person checks every box. And easy talker, and you'll see why, because he has his own podcast. He does his own thing as well, and he's out there in the community making a huge difference each and every single day. And we're going to talk all about those things. His name is Mr. Neil Colley. He is the owner of CNC Trucking. He's also big into the nonprofit Feed My Lambs Ministries. We're going to talk all about that, of course. And he runs his own podcast here in Hernando called The Local Yokels. We're going to hit on all these things. He has a nickname. It's going to be a lot of fun. You want to stick around. A lot of energy here today, a lot of talking. So we're going to fit in about 255,000 words into about an hour time frame. So just stick around for that. But the first thing I got to do, I got to send out some love and a shout out to all of my sponsors out there. So we will be right back. Hello, everybody. I just wanted to have a quick second to let you guys know how much it means to me that you are my sponsor. SRP Studios, The Real Hernando, The Rhythm Section, Hardwick, Heating, Cooling, and Air Quality, Estes, Grading, Hodge Homes, Adair, Honey Farm, Miss Hippie Eats, Phones R Us, Ross, Sod Farms and Landscaping, Ivy Rain, Women's Clinic, Tonic POS by Tyler Young, and Coffee Central. Thank you guys so much for being a sponsor. If you'd like to be a sponsor, go to my website now, motivatecoachcamp.com, and click on the button. Thank you. Welcome back, guys. Here we are. We are here with Mr. Neil Colley. Sir, thank you for coming down to the studios.
Man, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you're not foreign to these studios?
No, man. It's actually the first time I've sat on this side of the table, though.
Isn't it kind of weird?
For a while.
It's like sitting on the passenger side and you're always the driver.
Oh, my gosh.
It just feels different.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So it's crazy. Well, thanks for coming in. And there's so much we can cover. And sometimes it's hard to know exactly where to start whenever you have such a long story list. You and I have that.
Yeah.
But I want to start kind of at the basics because you do a lot of great for the community. And maybe you talk more, like I do a lot of times, about your guest. And people don't often know about you, the person. So let's start a little bit with Neil Colley and talk about where you grew up, where you came from, what your family life was like, all that stuff.
All right. Well, that's, I didn't even think about all that before I came in.
You know where you came from, right?
I do. I grew up in Alabama, a little town called Cedar Bluff, Alabama. Shout out to the Bluff.
Whoop, whoop.
The Tigers.
The Tigers.
Football season.
And now you're here as a Hernando Tiger in this town.
Well, not me.
No, but you're here in this town.
Yeah, that's
you
right.
in the Tiger town now, baby.
That's right. So, grew up there, and about 15 years old, and I started high school. My dad worked for Yellow Freight, and he transferred us all the way to Cheyenne, Wyoming. Shout out to all those folks out there that listen to me. So that's where I basically grew up till I was about 30 years old.
Question, is that near Casper, Wyoming?
Yes.
I have a really large group of people that chime in from Casper.
Awesome.
They really do.
Awesome.
There's a guy that has the Walmart dog. He's always at Walmart taking pictures, putting it on the post.
I remember that from our Feed My Lambs podcast. He chimed in about wanting to bring the dog or something like that.
That's right.
So, yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, Cheyenne is the capital city of Wyoming. I spent 15 years there. So I was 15 in Alabama, 15 in Wyoming. And during those 15 years in Wyoming, I had a family. I started a family, and
what'd you do out there?
Restaurant business.
Okay.
Yeah, I was involved in some local franchises from pretty much right out of high school. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I just took a job on a whim one day because I needed a little cash to pay a little car note. Next thing you know, like 12 years later, I'm still there. So,
one thing led to the next.
Yeah, some ownerships and management and
what
stuff
kind
like
of restaurants?
That.
I'm just curious.
Mostly Subway franchises.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of what I was into. We had some bagel makers stores long before there was Einstein Bagels. Do you remember that name?
I do remember that name, absolutely.
So we had New York-style bagels. It was a buddy of mine, Rob Woodward, had them, and he was also in the Subway franchise, and he approached me about joining up with him. And we started doing these co-branded freestanding stores like a McDonald's, but they were a Subway with a bagel makers. And like
Interesting.
It was pretty cool stuff. Anyway, long story short, my folks had relocated down here in like 1994, and I was always trying to come visit them, started having grandbabiys, and they wanted to see them. So we wound up down here a lot.
How did they end up here?
Yellow Freight. Again,
So
he
they just transferred them, okay.
With his job, yeah, they had transferred down here in like 94.
Mhm.
So I've been coming and going for a long time around this area.
Yeah, it's not an easy drive either, I wouldn't imagine.
No. I used to try to do it. I mean, I still do when I travel. I go back out there. My son relocated back out there recently, and I try to do it in like a day, and it's hard on you. I'm not young anymore. Back then, I could do it no problem, but nowadays it's rough. But anyway, the short story of the long version is we relocated down here about 2003. So I've been in DeSoto County as a resident since 2003.
Okay.
And when I first got here, didn't know what I was going to do. I was going to do real estate because I thought, man, I'd be good.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know nobody. That's a problem, when you move to a new area. How old were you at that
time when you
30.
So that's a pretty good. You got wisdom in you at that point. You've been around for a minute.
Yeah, and I knew sales and I knew people and all that stuff. And I went to school, got all licensed up, and joined a broker here locally. And man, within just a few months, I realized it's not for me. Now, today, I would do amazing. You know what I mean?
You're a good salesman.
Yeah. But today, I know a lot of people here. But like 20-something years ago, I didn't know anybody.
It's a hard business to get into if you're not rooted.
Yeah, and I didn't know the area. I didn't know the zip codes of what's good, what's bad. I didn't know. You know what I mean? So I took about a few months of that, and then if anybody remembers in 2003, we had the straight line wind that came through like in the middle of July. Wiped out power.
Oh, I remember.
You remember that, right?
I was at work that day on the fire department and worked my tail off.
I believe that. So I was just out that morning or whatever time it was, driving down Highway 61, and my truck blew, and I'm like, dang, it's like being back in Wyoming with the wind. And so I was just thinking in life, I was trying to have a reflection, like, is this really what I want to do? And so I walked in the door just randomly. I was down at the casinos. And I walked in the back door of Harrah's Casino. Didn't know anything about casinos.
Were you supposed to be down there?
No, I was just driving. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I walked in.
It sounds like downtown Bruno Brown kind of stuff.
It is kind of weird.
Go watch his episode because it's very just like in the spur of the moment.
Same thing as everything kind of happens to me in life. So I just know I'd changed one career, and I did not want to go back into the restaurant business. I'd had enough of that and just employees overall. So I kind of so I didn't know what I wanted to do. But anyway, I wound up in the back door of Harrah's Casino, and there was a lady there. And I'll mention her name's Gigi Manfredi, and she lives in Hernando. This is where she's from. But she was the HR person that kind of worked with everybody, and their power was out,
Because of the storm.
Storm, electric generators were on, but they were just running like the machines. That's the cash cows, right? So those can't go down. But she's like, fill your name out, do this. And it was kind of the beginning years of like computer testing, And so she's like, come back tomorrow. So I went back the next day and tested and got a job.
What were you doing?
Well, right away, I was going to be, oddly enough, because I had a lot of dealings in restaurant safety and things of that nature, they wanted to put me on the risk management side of their business. So nothing to do front of the house. It was going to be totally about that. Yeah. Well, a couple of weeks went by, and the guy didn't call me. I kept trying to call. And what happened was their corporate guy decided he wanted to come back home, and they didn't want to tell me. So they were like, what do we do with this guy? And so I finally I was like, man, I was mad. I was like, what the heck's going on? Well, honestly, this is what happened. I'm like, I don't care. Just, I'm looking for something.
You're looking for a job, yeah?
Yeah, so he said, well, come in, let's talk about it. So I went in, and he's like, well, I got this job in the VIP department. I'm like, good, I'll take that. He goes, you don't even know what it is. And I was like, well, it sounds kind of cool.
You said VIP? That's got to be something.
So I started out as a VIP coordinator, which was pretty, it was mid-range pay and stuff. And within like probably 6 months, I become an executive host, taking care of the VIP players, that kind of thing. And then from there, that's what I did till about 2010. And that was in 2003. And had moved around to the Grand Casino and did stuff like that. So I worked my way up in the world and got to know a lot of amazing people. And a lot of them still work there to this day. But I just had my fill of it. I didn't really necessarily, I was really good at it. I do believe, too good at it. I'd be sitting in the beach in Destin trying to have a vacation and the phone's ringing,
Right.
And so at that point, I knew I needed to take an exit course. So I fooled around, and for years, my dad was in the trucking business, and we had always building something. So we had dump trucks just around, and for probably most of my life, and I just told my dad, I said, I think maybe I'll just start doing this a little bit. So on the weekends, I was working a little bit with some farmers locally and stuff like that while I was still at the casinos. And then when I made my exit, I was like, man, I think I'm just going to do this, you know? And I didn't know a damn thing about it, like the business side of it.
But you kind of did, because you ran businesses as far as like restaurants.
Yeah, that's right.
So you basically got into the hospitality business down at the casino, and then whenever the opportunity presents to go truck, you just jumped at that. Here's what I'm just picking up.
I don't take any time. I just like...
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You are the epitome of our other podcast that Derek and I put together, which is Cannonballing Life. You are literally cannonballing the mess out of some stuff.
I really am. I don't ever think of like the risk in quitting something. Like if I'm done with something, I'm done with it. I'll just like, all right, man, like I think I've had my fill of this, you know?
Yeah,
and when I left the casinos, that was a real poor decision on... Well, I shouldn't say that. It's just in that world, you know, you hold a lot of their value when you represent their best players because it's relationship based, and they worry about you taking their business with them.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like they're afraid you're going to jump to another company and take their employee, you know, their customer.
Because they're going to follow you.
Yeah, and that happens, and it did happen. You know,
sure.
But when I quit, you know, they don't give you a chance to give it 2 weeks notice. You try, but because you have privy information, they just walk you out the door. You know,
wow.
So they give you like a 2-week package or something. Well, you know, you have compete agreements and things like that. And they just couldn't understand. I just quit. Mm-hmm. You know, so I was getting threatening letters from corporate office and all this stuff until they realized finally I wasn't out there trying to compete with them anymore. You know, I was done. You know, I did a little bit of outside rep stuff just for a little while. But again, just like I'm just one of those guys, when I've had enough of something, I just have enough of it, you know? Yeah. And that's just where
does that come from? So. Was that something you'd seen growing up from other people?
No, because my dad worked for the same company his whole life, you know? And my brother works for 3M, and he's been there his whole entire career.
Sometimes people talk about the black sheep of the family. Are you suggesting?
I am absolutely the black sheep of my family.
Guy. Okay, all right.
So totally
the wild one.
So everybody's kind of like stable in that standpoint. I'm just kind of more of a, like when I have enough of something, I have enough of it.
Yeah.
You know, to like up to here. I don't want to get it to here. I just, you know, it's a neck thing and I'm like, okay, I don't want to drown. You know, I want to be able to go and be my own person and see a different point of view.
I want to point out something here on this because I think this is important for viewers and listeners. I always try to see where I could connect the dot for people out there that, you know, you could almost take everybody's situation in life and apply that in a different way with another analogy, just everybody that's walking through this world. And one of the things that's so valuable here is we get caught up sometimes in this ideology that I'm not a quitter. I'm not going to quit. But I think the truth is that there's so much value in knowing when it's time to shift gears and adjust.
Oh, yeah.
Life is so short. And we should not have this mindset that we have to stay the course on something that doesn't make sense anymore because in the back of our mind, we're thinking, I don't want to quit. I don't want to quit. I tell my students all the time, whenever they come into class first stage, just a quick relatable story here. And that is, if this thing's not for you, don't think that there was lost value because you learned that it wasn't for you. Everybody has something out there that's going to jive, and that's going to be their thing. And I encourage you, try a million things. You just heard before we started this show, me and Derek, we will jump into something, get a taste test of it, and if it doesn't match, it doesn't match. We move on to something different. But how are you going to know which one's going to click if you don't give it a shot?
Right.
So I like the fact that you're saying, you know you, and whenever it's over, it's over. Let's move on to the next thing and let's try something.
I'm that way with people, you know.
You need to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of like, you know, if it's not healthy for me, I just, you know, I can drop. I mean, I'm not that way in general in my life. There's just only been a few of those people. But when I'm done with them, I'm done with them.
You got to know where you fit in with everybody.
Very few of them. And I think that a lot of people are that way. I don't think I'm unique in that. I think that my outlook on life, not that I know it, but people tell me it's a little unique just because of the way I've changed careers without question. Like I don't have a long drawn out
That's
process.
What I picked up on pretty quick. And I didn't know some of your history here till today. So that's interesting.
So when I jumped into the dump trucking business, after I decided that, well, I went from 1 to like 5, like overnight. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to get both feet wet. You know,
I like it, man.
And so my dad was trying to help. He was still working, but he's like, I can get behind you. You know, we'll work it out. You know, and my uncle helped me a lot and to get started. And excuse me, you know, after about probably 5 years of that, I was just, one day I woke up to my wife and I'm like, I'm going to sell them all. Like just, and she just listens. My poor wife, Annalie, thank God. Like, she just goes with me, you know, like I
feel like that your wife and my wife probably experienced a lot of the same shifts in nature. I was like, oh,
she's like, what is he doing now?
Yeah, we're doing that one.
But I told her, I was like, you know, I think I can do better with just one and me do it myself. Like instead of like having employees and trying to manage it all, I think it'd be better just being one because I represent myself better than anybody, right? So, and that's what I've done for like probably the last 14 years probably or so, I don't know, somewhere in there, man. I don't know the math on it all, but for the most part, that's kind of what I do. And I've kind of changed directions a couple of times on what you got to find your niche in a business. And that's kind of how I met you along about the time I did it. I kind of worked for homeowners and a couple of builders and some landscapers, but I don't work for no companies, any company. So I don't want, I'm my boss. Yeah. And I don't want to be dictated like 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, you'd be on my job. And I'm like, no, I will be there at 7 if I make it. So, right. Yeah, I'm just joking. Yeah. I try to be but I love the relationship part of it. You and I's relationship developed from a customer.
That's true.
To a friendship.
Yeah.
And I met you at the time your dad passed away, if you remember. And so we talked about that on the show you came on. You did my show, like my second show, I think. And that's kind of how most of my friendships have come about in this community, is from relationships with customers. Yeah. Whether it be at the casino, still got a few of those. And because you meet thousands of people in that world from all over the country. They're coming from everywhere. I love that about it. Part I didn't love is the majority of people in that world were older. So after about a few years, they start dying off. And it's like grandma's died 7 times this year. You know what I mean? Because I done built these relationships with these great old ladies, and you're having dinner with them, and they're inviting you to their granddaughter's wedding or something, Sure. I mean, so it was a tough process for me just on that part, the relationship part of it. I just didn't like the constant rotating door of that. And then people subject their whole livelihoods to something maybe they get addicted to. And I didn't understand it when I first got into it, but after I really just had enough of it, I was like, I can't be behind this. You know what I mean? I can walk in there and gamble a little bit and walk out, but there's people just can't do that.
Oh, no. It's like everything. Look, man, I don't want this to be grotesque in a sense, but I get what you're saying. You have the people that can go out for a casual drink at their dinner, but then you have those people, they should not touch it.
Never.
Because it will consume them.
Absolutely.
And so there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of battles that people have to face like that. And you saw that on the front lines. I certainly saw that as a paramedic. And just a fun, relatable thing, I started out my EMS paid career at Gold Strike.
Cool.
I was a EMT.
So this story. So in the casino world, and I know you've seen this because it happens in every one of them. My wife one day told me about it, and I'd already experienced it, but somebody could fall, and it happens in the casinos, they fall dead, like right where they're sitting or standing, because they're sometimes elderly, and are they doing something they shouldn't be doing, you know? And people literally just stepping over them.
Neil, let me tell you, my first
to get to the machine
first full arrest was at a blackjack table.
Oh, my Lord.
And I come up, and the dude's not breathing, and he doesn't have a pulse. And I look at the dealer, and I said, you got to shut this table down. And the dude next to me scoffed and mumbled cuss words as he grabs his money. I'm like, I'm sorry this guy inconveniently died next to you. We got to do some stuff.
So all that wears on you.
It does.
Over time, And then I was in a position where security called me to help verify somebody's identity or something. Like, is this your customer? Yeah, man. I just talked to him like half hour ago.
John Papa Jojo.
Yeah,
Papa Georgia.
Yeah, and it just wasn't for me, and people deal with that. So anyway, moving past that, I got into the dump truck world. So I've been in that for a long time, made a lot of incredible friends. And the whole time, when you talk about like how I got involved in all the stuff I do, I had this mother and father who's amazing. And through the years, they were always, it started from my grandparents, my mom's grandparents, helping the neighbors, even if they didn't like them, they wouldn't let them starve, and then my dad would give you the shirt off his back. You know what I mean? He was that kind of guy, help you fix anything. And then my mom was real big on helping kids and women who were single mothers and stuff like that, trying to help them from food and clothing. So I always seen it, but a lot of times I was so busy trying to make a living, I might be the financer behind some of it with my mom. Like I'd be like, well, she's like, I want to go buy 50 coats for the clothes closet at the school, or or something like that. And so I'd give her some money or something like that. So I was always that guy. I just couldn't get neck deep in it like I wanted to. And then when my kids got older, and a few years back, my mom was telling me about this amazing program, and I had no clue it existed. And then come to find out, I was going to be involved with it 4 or 5 years later. But that's really kind of how I got the passion for what I do. And I always had it, but I think I just had more time because my kids grew up, moved out, and it's just me and my wife. And so, as you get older, you have a little more time. Your eyes get open to more things. You learn how to deal with things a little bit better and where your focus is.
Wisdom.
So that's kind of where I'm at. I wouldn't call me smart by no means. But
wisdom is, I think, way more valuable than education and intellect at times because you have a broader understanding. I had a student once ask me about what's the difference, and I said, well, wisdom is true understanding.
Yeah.
It's the idea that you don't have to have all the answers, but you understand the concept.
Sure.
And look, here's the deal. What the foundation you just laid, which you didn't know I was going to ask you about your upbringing and where you came from, but that is so important a lot of times to better understanding where my guest comes from. What I hear, first of all, you had a natural ability about you to connect with people. That communication side of you seems like it was built in from day one. I can only imagine what it was like growing up in elementary school to high school. You probably made friends pretty easy because you were outgoing, it sounds like.
Well, we had a small school initially, and I'm probably friends with just about everybody I went to school with.
They knew you.
Yeah, from the Alabama side. But now when I jumped to Wyoming, which doesn't have a large population, but they have these enormous high schools because people from the whole county will come to this one high school or two high schools. We lived in Cheyenne. They had three, but two big ones. My wife went to one and I went to another one. We were competitors, Yeah. But I think it was like 22 or 300 kids in 3 classes, which coming from a kid with 23 kids, like in his classroom, that was enormous.
It's a pretty big difference.
And it was like a college campus, it was enormous, and it's still the biggest high school in that state to this day. And it was built back in the 60s, but they had, it was like a little city. And, at first, you're just kind of in a new place. And I was just kind of just so like, woo.
Yeah.
But it wasn't long, you start meeting people and making great friends that I still have to this day.
Here's a fun fact for you on Wyoming. You probably know this. There are, to this date, more cows than people.
More antelope.
More antelope than cows?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm assuming so, because the number was, when I first moved there, it was always said there's more antelope than there are people in the state of Wyoming. And back then it was like 400,000 people, maybe 500 now, maybe.
Yeah.
But just not a very populated state. There's only 2 towns, Casper and Cheyenne, are both about 50, 60,000 people, I think.
And then you have Jackson Hole, which is
very small. Yeah.
It's definitely the most expensive.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
I'm going to tell you that part. I drove through there, and it was
the people that work there have to have second jobs just to live there.
It's crazy.
So the University of Wyoming is in Lair. I mean, we spent a lot of time there, which is like 50 miles from there. So everything's 50 miles apart out there.
The other part of this, the other part of your story here, Neil, and I don't know if you've ever connected this, but you had an upbringing of 15 years in the South.
Yes.
And then you had 15 years in the extreme Northwest.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And those are different cultures.
Very much so.
That's not some kind of wild statement.
No.
So the idea, though, that you were able to see the different styles of people, the different mannerisms, the different customs, I think all of that built into the person you were becoming, and that makes you more relatable. That makes you have a unique superpower, and that is to be able to meet somebody from any part of the country and find common ground and connect with them. And that goes into the public service part of things that you were doing. And I like the fact, too, that whenever you got into the truck business, that you were paying attention. Sometimes, a lot of times I say this, and this is true for me and my students, I feel like we're planting seeds and we need to be cognitive of that. You need to pay attention because somebody's watching you at all times. You never know who that is. And so your actions do matter, even when it's subtle. People are paying attention. You don't know who you're going to influence. Your parents were influencing you in such a profound way.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And you had no clue probably in the back of your head that this was something that was starting to grow and you had this passion and heart for. So as you get a little older, and as you say, time passes, seasons change, your kids are older. Now, all of that stuff you saw your mom doing in that with this in particular nonprofit, but overall, because it does sound like your parents were very involved.
Oh, everywhere.
Your whole life.
Yeah.
And so you witnessed this. Now you have this opportunity, Feed My Lambs. And tell me about the moment that it connects with you, because if you guys don't know what Feed My Lambs is, check it out. It's down in Walls, Mississippi, and it's an incredible program. I don't want to spill the beans on it. I want you to talk about the program, what it is you do, and why it's important to you.
So it existed for probably a decade before I got around it. And when I found about it was probably like in, this will be the 4th year we're doing it. So my mom, who passed away last year suddenly, was the liaison at the school. She worked at the school for like, I don't even know how many years, but 12 or so, I think. But she had been there, and they feed about 130 to 150 kids every weekend at Walls Elementary in Lake Cormorant. And it started at Walls, and there was a lady, Miss Billy Wilhite. We've talked about her before. Her daughter.
She was on the show?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Teacher to many.
Teacher to me?
Still teaching, yeah. Her daughter, Jennifer, had come to her. She worked for the school district in the nutritional department, and I think she had approached. I never knew Jennifer. This is what's nuts. And but I felt her heart through this thing. She came to her mom back in like 2010 or something, somewhere in there, and said, hey, there's a real need down there. I would like to start this. It's not unique. there's other places in the country that started it. And I don't know if it was the same name or whatever. But because of separation of church and state, you can't name it after the church or something that's involved. It has to be something separate, anonymously or whatever. And so she took it to her mom. They took it to the powers to be at the church, and they're like, yeah, we can get behind that. You can use our facility, create your own 501c, separate from the church. Mm-hmm. So it is its own. It still is. And so for about a decade, it started out with like 4 or 5 kids a weekend, and then it's morphed into what it is now. So when I got involved 4 or 5 years ago, whenever I found out, I was having one of those great conversations with my mom every night about her daily events, like she's 70 at the time probably. And, it was always, I talked to her every day at least 10 times probably, because she was just one of those moms. But asking her what she's doing, and she was rambling on. And it was one of those things, this, Chris, sometimes you're like, oh, I know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What? Oh, kidding me, that. Yeah. So we were having one of those, and then I was half-heartedly listening, and all of a sudden she was talking about, and since she's died, I don't know what the program's going to do to get money. And I'm like, whoa, who died and what program? Mm-hmm. And so when she elaborated, man, my mind just went into another.
Triggered something. Threw a switch on.
So I laid there that night thinking, man, how in the heck have we got kids literally starving today? With all the resources and availability of our government and stuff. Well, I started investigating it, and I asked my mom for Miss Sandy's number, Mabry, that runs the program now. She's the coordinator. And I called her the next day, and we had a long talk, and I got off the phone, and I thought, man, how can I help them? Right now, it's a money thing. Mm-hmm. They were barely surviving. They didn't even know if it was going to last to the end.
And I remember on the show they were on, they talked about a lot of times it was out of their own pockets.
Yes, man.
They were going to get their supplies themselves.
Trying to feed these children, and so I called up 3 or 4 of my buddies, and Jerry Mask was one of them, Bubba Wilson, Randy Hendrickson. I mean, every single one of them, Jason Sawyer, all these people. I'm like, I need y'all's help. And they're like, what do you need? And they knew me. They knew how I was about helping folks. So I'd be like, I need 300 from you and 500 from you, because I knew everybody's kind of budget, their business levels, you know? And every one of them was like, just come get it. You know what I mean? And so we put a couple of grand on them just to get them through the end of the school year. Yeah. And it kind of got them through there. And I just dropped it off in the box at the church, and kind of anonymously at that time. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I got to thinking, I called Miss Sandy, and she was like, oh my goodness, thank you, Neil. You don't know how much it means. I said, listen, if I live to next year, this was the end of the school year, I said, me and Randy, I'm talking to Randy about it, Randy Hendrickson, who owns Roofworks, he's the one this is how we all got started in this stuff. Mm-hmm. And he was very charitable like that. He already was kind of doing some barbecue benefits for some people who might have cancer locally or something like that, trying to raise some money for them. And so we just kind of got to thinking, he's like, Neil, here's a real opportunity for us. He told me that. Yeah. He said, why don't we just start doing a barbecue fundraiser for them? And you're a salesman, I'm a salesman. We can sell the heck out of some butts, or something, I bought some from you. Yeah, delicious. So the first year we did it, we sold, I want to say 80 or 90. We sold some plates, and it was just that. We just set up in the parking lot out there. And that was on August 23rd. I think Randy said he lost 15 pounds because it was about like it is right now, 100 plus degrees. And we were on asphalt, so it's crazy. So then the next year, I got into it really hard. And Randy's like, well, I'll do whatever you want to do. Just tell me. We'll do it. So the next year, we added a little car show. And my family, my mom, my brother, everybody's just excited. My kids, everybody's there. And it just kind of each year has grown, and each year it's doubled and tripled in size, And then so, unfortunately, she passed away before she could really see an amazing day last year, to where we really put a lot on them. We raised a lot of money, and we had a great show and had a lot of new participants from a business standpoint, from V. McGee Trucking to RCL Fernando. I mean, I could name so many of them. Mesa's Towing. I mean, all of them, man. They just got behind me after they seen this thing was really moving and what it was about. So it's just kind of turned into something that I never expected. And it just keeps growing. And now we built a truck this year that we're giving away for this year's fundraiser. So I expect it to be 3 times bigger.
Let's not miss it. Tell them how they could go and get on that raffle, because, man, I have ADD. Talk about that right there so people can jump on that. So we don't stop.
And then we'll cue Derek up to put the picture of the truck in the show and the video or whatever. But it's a 78 C10 resto mod. And we're giving it away for $100. You can go to the website. You can get onto the Local Yokels podcast page, my page, Neil Colley on Facebook. Find us on TikTok the same way. But if you go in there, you click the link at Minor Memorial / I don't even know. Derek,
Well, I'll put it this way. I'll put it in the show notes for sure.
Yeah.
So check the show notes out on the bottom of whether it's a picture or the video, and it'll have how you can go there. So,
and it's like Minor Memorial /Lambs or something like that, .org or whatever. But anyway, people watch my show know it because I read it off. But should have been more prepared for that, sir.
You didn't know. That's okay.
But anyway, you can reach me at 662-404-2364 to get a ticket.
I will put that in there as well.
Yeah, 662-404-2364 to buy a butt for the show.
Yeah.
We're doing racks of ribs this year. I'm going to have John David Wheeler, who everybody knows from Memphis Barbecue, and he's been a local builder for a long time. He's going to help me with the slabs of ribs, rack of ribs, or whatever. He's going to cook for those. And we're going to use our own our normal barbecue that we do, which we buy the absolute best meats that we can find from like Primo's here in Hernando.
Oh, it's delicious.
Yeah, absolutely. And John and him's place up there, him and Jim Lasapio, they own the butcher shop up there next to on Silo Square. Well, not Silo Square, Snowden, yeah. Yeah, I get my stuff from them, and then they help me cook them and things like that. So it's the top-of-the-line stuff.
Yeah.
And so you can order those things from me as well.
And all that goes to benefit Feed My Lambs.
Every single penny.
Every single penny. I'm going to put a little Coach Camp seasoning on this.
There you go.
See how I'm doing that? See, I'm doing that right there. Whenever I knew he was coming in, we were going to be able to do this podcast, I was like so excited because I knew this was going to be fun. Yeah. And you have so many things that you're making such a huge impact in communities with. Yeah. This is a true honor to be able to share your story on my platform, and hopefully this reaches so many more people.
I hope so too,
and they come over and watch what you're doing, because you're doing some big things. But two things you mentioned through that piece of conversation just then. One, talking about how your mom passed on before she got to really see it grow. But I think that there's so much value here to understand that what we're doing today, people may not always get to see the full, true benefit of what it is that you are going towards when you're doing something that is bigger than you. But that's called a legacy. And your mom left behind an amazing legacy that you now get to carry forward. And I know she's looking down, so proud of you. And you didn't let that pass away. You didn't let it go away. And that's what we hope to do in life. I think you should hope to do in life anyways, is to do something bigger than you for the right reason, with your heart in the right place, so that it grows in a way that goes well beyond your years, which is what we do at the Hope Center. And these podcasts I like to think of as being legacy driven, in the fact that somebody will get to come back in time. Your great grandkids will be able to pull up Papaw, whatever they want to call you, Neil, and say, look at this podcast he was on. I wish I could pull up my great granddad on a screen somewhere and hear some of his story. That would be amazing. The other thing I wanted to point out too was how you mentioned that the Feed My Lamb started out with 3 or 4 or 5 kids on a weekend. Look, folks, please take this to heart. Don't look at the top of the mountain when you're at the bottom. Just understand that if there's something you are being called to, you feel like it is in your heart to take action, whatever that is. Don't think, well, I don't have this much money, or I don't have this many people that are supporting me. Start somewhere. All it takes is one step, and then you take a second step. And whenever you start doing that, if you're doing it for the right reason and your heart is there, you just cannot even imagine how fast and how far that thing can go, and it'll go well beyond your years. And that's the key. They took action. They didn't worry about, it's only 4 kids, we're not really making a difference. They were going to serve those 4 kids the best they could. And then the next year it's 12. And then the next year it's 100. And all of a sudden now you're looking back and you're like, wow, if I would have never taken action, if I was waiting until I had everything to help everyone, instead of doing something for someone, I would have ended up doing nothing for no one. You got to take action. You got to move forward. If you have a calling and you have a heart, don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about the clicks. Don't worry about the likes. Don't worry about the views. Go forward. That's what Coach Camp is doing. And my friend, that is what Neil Colley is doing.
I have been. Yeah.
And let's talk about that. So you've got this big thing that you're doing for them, and then you come along and you're on my show with Feed My Lambs. We've known each other for a long time. You've delivered some rocks. You were a big supporter of Coach Camp before Coach Camp was Coach Camp.
Yeah.
I put out my first videos of positivity, and you were always clicking in and giving me some positive words. By the way, we need that too. You need that. Even, no matter how focused and driven you are, you need some people to say, yeah, you're doing it right, man. Keep going. Because that's encouragement. You were always that person, sir. And then down the road, you say, hey, I wonder if I could do podcasting. And I said, absolutely, you could. It doesn't take a special talent. It has you have to have the heart for it. And sir, you did. So let's talk about the moment you make the decision, I'm going to go for that. I'm going to do local yokels.
Well, I think, coming into, I've been following you, ever since you started.
You have.
I think I was with you the first day you started filming yourself a little bit at your house on your garbage can.
That's true. That's a true story.
Yeah, we had a conversation like, dude, I don't know, but I think I just been filming stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm gonna figure out something. So it was the beginning of the Motivated with Coach Kemp world, And so anyway, I guess watching you, and I thought, man, I need more people to get involved with this thing. And how do we do it? I said, Coach has got a pretty good platform. And even if it's a couple hundred people, a couple thousand, I don't know. I didn't know how many people were listening or watching,
Right. At that time, I didn't think there was very many people at all. I just assumed I was talking to myself.
So I reached out to you, sent you a message, and I said, hey, man, I'm involved in this program. And you're like thinking it was just a ministry of some kind. You didn't really know what it was, that we were feeding kids for nutritional lack thereof through the weekends, And so you read up on it and like, holy crap, I got to let them on the show.
I got to bring them in.
Deal. Yeah.
This is big.
So you called me and I'm like, yeah, but I got to bring these ladies because it's not about me. I'm just a fundraiser. I'm just the mouthpiece and the face because that's the things they were lacking. The reason why they were broke is because of the fact that nobody knew about it because of the separation of church and state. So they couldn't call it what it was.
Right.
And so if nobody knows about it, how are they going to get any money?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, from a business perspective, the more people that see your product, the more people is willing to help, So that's where I kind of made the premise of that. So each year I wanted to grow it, right? So last year when we came on your show and we were at the old studios and I met Derek and we came in, my mind was like, man, this is really cool. Maybe we could do a show specifically for Feed My Lambs at some point in time. That's all I was thinking. Like I just pay Derek for a studio time. We just release a show. Well, I was on my way to Wyoming, moving my eldest son back last October. And by myself. He's in the truck in front of me. We've been driving for like 20 straight hours or something like that with two trailers behind us.
It's so wild.
Yeah. And relocating him out there. And he goes, I'm thinking to myself, I'm just always turning on something. And I'm like, how do I reach more people? How do I grow this thing? Each year we're growing it. We're doubling and tripling, the numbers we're given, even though they're not huge numbers, but they are happening. How do I grow it? Well, that was it. I'm like, maybe I should do some podcasting.
Yeah. Did you mention that to your son?
No, just to me. I was just having a conversation.
You were thinking the thoughts.
He was in a different vehicle. I got
you.
I was just thinking, what about podcasting?
I was curious if you bounced it off of his ideas. And was like,
I probably did, truthfully, because he's like one of those guys, like me and him are much alike in our mindset. So he's, I could say I was going to jump off the bridge. Well, yeah, Daddy, you'd be great at it.
You'd probably do that. You'd probably make it happen.
Yeah, that's my oldest son, Tyler. So, and with my daughter, knowing that I had her support, Ashlyn, she lives locally. She helps me with everything, by the way. And she always did. Like even when my mother was involved, when we started this thing, she's like the list gatekeeper and ideas and making the pamphlets and all that stuff. So I had to do that. And so I wound up just on my way out there. I think I might have texted you or called you when we were in the truck. And I said, what do you think? And you're like, dude, I think you'd be great at it. So I reached out to Derek and it was at a time when he was thinking about moving to studios, and I was like a week late maybe from keeping the old ones.
So you were. Yeah, I remember him calling me and telling me, he's like, man, I wish kind of Neil would have called me, but then he goes, I don't know, this might be a great location too. So,
well, I think everything in my mind happens for a reason.
I do too.
So I think it's meant to be. I love this studio.
That's great.
I think it's very intimate over there. We might have had too much space. You know what I mean? I kind of look at it that way for us anyway. I don't know about Derek. You might disagree with that. But for us, for podcasting, I think it's a really intimate setting. But that's when it started for me. I didn't know who my first guest was going to be or the next one. I just knew that I could reach more people if I had a platform, and instead of trying to be, I didn't have an agenda for like Neil. I wasn't thinking about me, I was thinking about how do I do more for more people. And I met all these amazing people as I was going through the worlds of trying to call everybody I knew to help raise money for Feed My Lambs. I started meeting people like, well, man, I'm already helping so-and-so over there. And I'd find out about their program, and then they need help. And then this person, they're like, man, we're struggling our butts off too, man. We're trying to do, so it turned into one of these things. Like I started meeting all these amazing people and I'm like, well, man, if I had a podcast, I think I could do a show on the regular. I didn't know if it'd be weekly, monthly. I didn't know, to where I could kind of like spotlight these folks and the things that they have available to the community. And they need some help too, because all of them are pretty much donation-based programs. They're trying to help people somehow. And so I thought, well, I'm not rich by no means financially, but I think I could probably figure out how to pay for this, And then I started talking to Randy at Roofworks, and he's like, dude, I'll help you pay for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He said, I think it's an amazing idea what you got going on. So he sponsors a show, and and never asks questions, never tells me what I need to be talking about or nothing else. He's just, him and his wife are just behind me 100% on just about every decision I make. They're like, man, that sounds great. What do we got to do it? And I'm like, well, I need some money, So they've done good in life, and I'm proud for them. But they're not those kind of folks. They're just like, how do we help? You know, and they know I'm really out there in the public and know a lot of people in the county and stuff. And so that's kind of how it transitioned. And then like each show, I meet these amazing new people that I don't want to know the people I've got on the show and I don't have too long a conversation before I get them on the show. I want to learn with the audience, just like you did with me. Like, you know me a little bit, but you didn't know my whole backstory.
No, but I did know Miss Wilhite. She was my teacher back in high school.
She's still amazing.
But I didn't know anything about what she was doing with female acts. In fact, it was a surprise when I saw her name. And you sent me the text and you were like, hey, look, these two ladies see be on there. My immediate thought was, there has got to be nobody else but Miss Wilhite, because there's not too many Billies that I know that are females.
Plus,
Billy, I'm like, it has to be her.
Her story is so amazing. The things that she's done for this community. When you talk about from her point of starting some of the first free, she was an EMT like back in the day. I think
Walls, volunteer fire department.
Sure was. Her husband helped start that, all that stuff, and
very connected.
And
to
then
community.
A teacher in the community for
I know
50 years. I don't know how long she
taught, but she taught me, and I'm old.
So everybody
she's probably
knows
like,
her.
thanks, guys.
And then tragically, she lost both her daughters, in the last couple of years. And after we had the show last year, another daughter passed away. I didn't know if you knew that, but she's still an amazingly strong individual. And I hope at her age, I'm not going to tell people her age, but 85, she is amazing. Like,
she is.
Man, she is strong. And I was over at her house not too long ago, and we were talking about some of the stuff we was going to do. And she's just like, Neil, I just love it. Keep doing it, man. We're behind you, And part of the legacy I want to leave is for her daughter and her. Because of what they started. I don't want this thing to stop. It wasn't about my mother. My mother was just a big proponent of it and got me involved. And she lived that thing. Like, when she retired, she started going up there every Thursday for what they call pack and pray. You can be a volunteer. You don't have to go to that church. There's none of that stuff. They're always needing that stuff. So, you can reach out to me to find out how to do that, or just go to Minor Memorial Methodist Church in Walls, Mississippi. And you don't have to be a Methodist person either. Like, don't even have to go to church. I don't go to church. They thought I told them I was a heathen. You know what I mean? So they just like, no, you're not. You're doing too much good stuff to be that way. So, so the podcasting has just allowed me to meet so many amazing new people that are doing great things in the community, and we've found out, like, sometimes I'll have somebody on that I didn't know that had on your show from like 2 years ago.
Right.
And it's just crazy, and it's amazing. They got a new story. It's something different. It's a different audience, and that's what I love about it. And we call it cross-pollinating is what Derek calls it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a different presentation, even though we do it out of the same studio. We just have different shows.
Right.
We talk differently. Our guests are on different topics.
Everybody has different talents.
Yeah.
And they have something to bring to the table. I like being a coach, by the way. I am a coach.
Yeah.
You recognize that you have a team. And if you're playing baseball, you're going to have 9 players on the field.
Sure.
Each player needs to have specialized skills in the area that you're putting them. Yeah. You don't expect everybody to have the same talents and the same skill sets. That's what makes you a team. And so to your point, and you really blended all that very beautifully, but the idea behind everything is doing something bigger than yourself. And where that needs to come from is a heart for others, being a servant leader, and that's who you are.
It wasn't
that's what
about
you are.
me. The
it
show.
never was.
The
local yokel thing. And that's why whenever we talked about it, it's funny because I think a person could get caught up in comparisons. I've done it in the past with different things. You look at what someone else is doing, and you're like, well, I'm not really like that. But that's the idea. You shouldn't be like that. You got to be you. It's got to be real. It's got to be authentic. It's got to come from the heart. And when you do that, it's going to be successful. It's going to have an impact. So you're right. Even though we've had the same guest at times, they come in, they're telling a different story, and they're telling it to a different person or a different audience. And what I would say to everyone out there, and this is I can't speak for everyone, obviously. I can only speak for me, but I think this is true in a lot of circles. We are always going to be stronger together, and we are always going to build better when we are together. Yeah. I wish politicians across the board of our entire freaking country would get the concept. Democrat, Republican, Independent, I don't care. If you work together for the common good, so much more can be done for the people. Sure. And that's where it has to come from. So whenever I got into podcasting, my thought was never to be the premier one podcaster in all of DeSoto County or North Mississippi or America. I mean, that's Joe Rogan. Anyways, the idea was I wanted to do something that was meaningful. And the best way to know that it's being meaningful is other people want to get on board and do the same kind of thing. Sure. And so whenever you wanted to come in, I was super excited. And since then, you've had a person.
2 people.
Two people that have come along and they're like, I want to do that too. And that's the point, man.
Melissa DeBar.
Melissa
Five
DeBar.
Stories with DeBar. Go follow it on YouTube.
Yep. And who's the other one?
Cody Woods is going to do it, and I think that him and Derek have some time set up already. He's signed up.
I haven't heard about him yet.
Yeah, he's set up with Derek to do a couple of test shows and see where it goes. But he'd be an awesome guy. His will probably be more like buddy stuff and mechanicking things. I don't know what they're going to get into. So he was on my show. Him and David Tyre. They were buddies of mine, and it was just like a fun show. And we kind of like spotlighted their businesses and how I know them. I love them. They're like little brothers. You know what I mean? And so they're such good human beings. I just wanted to spotlight who they were. I
want to say this about you, Neil. So for two things. One, Neil is I don't know if this is an honor or a detriment. I hope it's an honor. Yeah. You're only the second person ever to be a 2-time guest on the Motivate with Coach Camp show.
Stacey
Dodd was my first, and then you are now my second. And I think that's, for me, if you have multiple layers to yourself, then you need to be able to share those different layers. And that first time was all about I'm saying
feed my lambs.
The feed my lambs.
Yeah.
It's late in the evening, guys. It's actually almost 8 o'clock. It's PM in the night. Yeah. And I go to bed at 9. Yeah. So it's really late for me. But the feed my lambs, it was all about that. This time around, whenever I invited you on, and this is so true, and I'm saying this, and if it embarrasses you, Neil, please don't beat me up. You're a lot bigger than me. He was like, I don't want you to waste a show on me. And to me, that was like, you know what? That's your humility speaking. Oh, well. That's you saying that you don't feel valuable to who you are. You're there for other people. And I've been the same way. And sometimes it is a little bit, you don't want to feel like you're stepping out and saying, hey, look, check me out. But that's not the point. Your story matters because other people are going to be inspired by that. And I wanted to be able to help facilitate that. You're not going to go on your show and say, y'all listen up, check out Neil Colley. I'm going to tell y'all all the cool stuff I do. That's not it. I want you to come on here, be able to share your background, where you've come from, where your heart is, and why you're doing what you're doing, because people need to tune into Local Yokels. People need to go and support Feed My Lambs. This is... Whenever you find people out there in your community that's having a huge impact, get behind them, folks. Support them. Don't think everyone else is going to do the job. You got to take ownership and say, I want to help that person. I'm going to step up to the plate. And that's what Miss Wilhite, that's what your mom, that's what all these people did. They started out with just an idea, a thought, and a heart in the right place. And now it's grown to big things. Local Yokels is going to do that. You're going to have big impact on a lot of people in this community.
Thank you.
And I'm so thankful that you decided to come down to the studio,
I appreciate it. Well, you talked about the wanting to help others. Is kind of what I do it unconsciously. Sometimes I don't really know what I'm doing, tying people together. It's kind of like Derek. I told you about him giving me that nickname. What
was it again? The community Cupid. Community Cupid. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget.
And I don't really care for the nickname, to be honest with you. But
you just got to wear an outfit.
But right. So, but I think what he was getting at is like he realizes and he sees it because like I'll tie people together like. I was telling you, like, as soon as I have a guest on, I get familiar with them. I find out these amazing things they do. I try to connect people that might need them.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's guests I've had on before. I'm like, y'all need to connect because you got similar, you need her resources, he needs yours, and it works well together. And so that's what I'm after is like trying to, our combined resources are way better than individualism.
That's what we've already been talking about. Yeah, absolutely. We are stronger together.
So from the DeSoto County Dream Center, Jenna Kern over there, I've got her connected with a few people. And by the way, our event this year for Feed My Lambs is going to be on October 11th from 10 to 3. We're going to be giving away the truck that day for the raffle, $100 per ticket as I talked about. But with that, this year, what's going to be different is because I've met all these amazing programs in the last 9-10 months that I've been doing the show, I've invited them all to come to the show and have like a tent and an information table. You're going to be there too. And Derek's going to have Thrive Entertainment.
Yes. DJ.
I reached out to Stacey about the Hope
Center. He
should
be playing music for it.
Yeah, he will. Yeah, he will be. Yeah. He's going to be doing the DJing, the music, the PAing, and all that stuff. So we're going to be having that day, and they're super talented, but Sipping Lemonade and Be Nutrition and My Ties Barbecue. And then the one thing's funny about this whole thing when you talk about the legacy part. So we have a barbecue truck, and we've done it for 3 or 4 years now, but we never had a name for it. People just go, man, we want y'all's barbecue. It's good, Yeah. So this year, I'm like, baby, we got to put logos up for all these people that's coming. Yeah, something. And so my daughter sends me this thing without even telling me. She created this logo on there because Fancy Nancy's Barbecue. So, because we call my mom Nancy.
That's good.
Fancy Nancy was her nickname.
I like
She even had a license plate that said Fancy Nancy.
That's good.
Yeah. So, and it's got these big red lips on it because she always had her iconic red lipstick on and stuff. So with that, we're creating a nonprofit, Brandy and I, this year, that we're going to start giving away these vehicles, basically raffling them off, really good hot rods. everybody loves hot rods. So for whatever the number is we put on it, but you buy a raffle ticket to win this $40,000, $50,000 vehicle or whatever it is. And so we thought, we'll take that, put it all into a pot for this Fancy Nancy Foundation. That's what we're going to call it. Because that's what Randy told me I had to call it. Because he said, without her, none of us would be involved in this.
Good point.
She was the legacy behind all this. So we are going to do that. And again, the logo, my daughter, I mean, she just loved it. And she made the logos and stuff. So it's really cool how that stuff works, So we're trying to, and with that money, by the way, what we're going to do is find out these struggling programs. They're doing amazing things to the community, and maybe, and give them a quick cash infusion or something from our nonprofit. Instead of it being focused on one, we can help multiple. Yeah. And just disperse actual, funds to help them, instead of having one focus, one place, all that stuff, we can be a little more diverse, if we will. So, and not just here in DeSoto County, like it may be something else, somewhere, but we're going to try to grow it to where it's, manageable. You got
to start somewhere, and then, it'll grow the way it's supposed to.
And a lot of people ask me, and after my mom died, I had a guy call me, by the way. He had been helping me for a couple of years, and my mom passed away, and he called me, and he goes, Mom, this like the day after, he goes, was your mom Nancy Colley? And I'm like, yeah. He said, everything you're doing now is making sense to me. He said, I thought you were just doing it for a business write-off. Oh, okay. He said, now I know who you are, because she did everything just from her heart. And he said, my little girls are over here bawling their eyes out right now because Miss Nancy passed away, and they're in college. You know what I mean? Like they're, because she was so impactful on so many people's lives, And so that's just us. It's kind of like our respect to her and the legacy of that. And all the ladies in this program, Miss Billy Wilhite, Lawana Beasley, all these people, Sandra Mabry, I can go on and on with the list of names that, they were devastated as we were, and because, she gave them drive to keep going and moving because she had so much energy, and so it's there again, just trying to keep everything moving. We want Feed My Lambs to exist, and we want to continue to fund it by doing fundraisers and having people join us in partnerships, and it's just spreading the word. It ain't always about money either. I always tell people, spreading the word, volunteering, and if you have a couple extra bucks, throw it that way. If you got a couple extra $1,000, we'd love to have it.
That's right.
So we'll take whatever you got. But I think it's all impactful as a community. We've all discussed this. Like we're just stronger as a team.
That's right.
And so this individualism, trying to get your own shine, it's not important to me. You can take credit for anything I do. I really don't care. It's all about what the end result's going to be.
Ronald Reagan was quoted as saying, imagine how much good we can do if we don't care who gets the credit.
That's right.
And man, is that so impactful? That is so true. Yeah. You put your best foot forward, and then don't worry about who's getting patted on the back. If the accomplishment is the thing that you were looking for, man, who cares who?
I don't even want people to thank me. Yeah. Like I get uncomfortable with it sometimes.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, like I do feel that.
Those ladies up there, they're always, oh my God, Neil, if we didn't have you, and I'm like, stop that. You got me. We're here. We're doing it. So let's just do it together and stop thanking me. I get it, Yeah. But it's not. I really appreciate them recognizing it. A lot of times, we've been in places where we've killed ourselves doing something, and somebody just don't even give you a thank you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because they're busy in their lives or whatever. But it is good to hear it. But that's not what we're about. I think as a community, all the people that I've been, especially networked with in the last year, meeting Derek and Stacy and Kenneth McKinney and people like that. That is inspiring to me.
Absolutely.
And I've always told them, like, I tell Stacy all the time, I say, if you got something new coming up, you just call me. We'll put it on the show. You can have my platform anytime you want, because that dude is unbelievable.
He can say a lot of words too.
He's fast.
He's rivaling us, and we're both talkers.
Yeah.
When we go somewhere,
fast, though, man.
Yeah, when we go somewhere, he's like, hey, Coach Camp, I might out-talk you. I'm like, I know you will. I know you will.
But I want to thank him for all he does, and I try to want to get everybody to the program this year. I've reached out to just about everybody I've had on my show that I think that could impact them by being there, because we'll have hundreds of people there. It's going to be a great car show. We've got some amazing things that are just growing this year. It's going to be probably run out of room. We may have to move it next year, to be honest with you. But I hope we got every inch of the grass and concrete and asphalt covered. That's what I hope.
Me too, my friend.
So, but thank you for having me on, man. I don't really, and when you said, I told you I just waste the show. I really didn't.
It ain't a waste at all, my friend.
But just impactfully, I don't see myself that way. You know what I mean? So just to be clear with that, the Local Yokels is not the Neil Colley show. I could have called it that.
True enough.
But I wanted it to be about the local people, and somebody had to spearhead it, and somebody had to be the face of it. And I guess I just figured, like, okay, it's me, I guess. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's kind of how I seen it, and that's kind of where I got involved with it.
And if you hadn't done that, Melissa may not have started hers.
True.
And if Melissa and that wasn't going and you weren't going, then the new guy, Cody
Cody Woods. Yeah.
Cody Woods.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's the butterfly effect right here in this room.
Yeah.
You're seeing the butterfly effect.
Trickle down. You met him. You met Derek. He got you in. You know,
to podcasting, yeah.
And then you got me in it, and I got Melissa
That's
in
how
it.
things
Melissa
work,
will get somebody else in it. It just grows naturally, you know. So if you have a passion to tell a story, and they're all different topics. Melissa's is all about like veterans and fighting back and fighting. I mean, everything's about fighting. You know what I mean? I mean, even with your fist, but especially fighting cancer and fighting your emotions, fighting whatever. That's her thing. It's an amazing story she has, but it's the topics are unique to your ideas. You know, mine is always whoever I have on, if it's a business or whatever, they have a give back story. They have to be given back to the community somehow to be on my show. I don't care who they are. Yeah. I don't care if they got $10 million. Like, Neil, I'll give you $10,000 to come on the show. And I'm like, nope. What are you doing for the people? You know what I mean? Are you giving that $10,000 to the local charities? If not, I don't want you on the show. Right. You know what I mean? Because that's what it's about for me. Sure. So it's all give back stuff. So like having you on my show originally was just an inspiration. I also know what you do for the Hoop Center and things like that in the community. Derek does the same thing. And so, you know, if people would just be more charitable in life, and it's just an encouraging word a lot of times.
And you don't have to be rich. You don't have to be famous.
No.
You don't even have to have a lot of time.
Nope.
Just giving some of your time can make a big difference.
It can be a kind word.
It can
like
be
you're
a kind
doing
word.
amazing today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I thank you for being one of the early supporters of me. Yeah. That encouragement did keep me motivated. Now, would you have quit? I don't know that I would have, because I'm pretty stubborn. I'm pretty dang stubborn. If nobody would have liked me, I think I'd have just kept going.
I think you would have. Because, sometimes, like, it's funny you say that, because, like, when I was talking to Derek and you both about the show, I'm like, dude, I don't know if it'll get any traction. You know what I mean? But they're like, it don't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Because my theory was, I don't care if I get 10 or 20 or 30 people watching. If I just hit one that can, like, pick up on what we're doing. Same way with the Feeding My Lambs. Like, we're feeding 150 kids a weekend. But if all of that's just a waste and one kid gets the proper nutrition and doesn't starve or something happens, it's worth every penny.
Look beyond that.
Yeah.
One of those kids may grow up and have the same kind of heart and passion to give back to the underprivileged group of America, and then they may end up starting a foundation that helps millions. Yeah, you never know.
You don't know
how big of an impact somebody might have on another person's life.
That's exactly
you may never know. You may pass from this earth and never have a clue. But, man, you change millions of people's lives and you never knew
I think we're getting, all of us, we're getting enough views now as podcasts are becoming more popular in DeSoto County, especially on the video form. I don't think there's a lot of them do it on a video form like we are. So, and part of it is because we got this amazing producer.
Michoud
over at the SRP Studios, and he provides a service that this doesn't exist around here. I could have very well went and bought my own stuff, and you could have too. I know that. Between you and your wife, y'all could have bought it. Put up your own little studio and your own little house.
It sucked.
That's what I said. So, like, I don't want to do it and it'd be terrible, So, like, I know I'm going to be bad enough. I need somebody to try to make me look as good as possible.
Right.
And Derek does a good job at that. So, like, he knows how to cut and edit everything. I don't know that. I'd have been messing up bad.
Yeah, for me,
and so, like, with the lighting to the cameras to this is way better, And a lot of us, like, you started out on audio only. When y'all first started, so the video wasn't even partaking in it. But you realize the importance of video.
It is. And also, I just realized that, if I helped one person, and if it was video or audio, I was just willing to keep going, whatever the course was. And at the time, Derek was brand new kind of in starting this stuff up. Yeah. So he got to guinea pig a lot of the stuff with me, which I was like, I'm good, because here's the thing. As a firefighter paramedic, I knew that I couldn't save everybody, but if I could save one person.
That's right, just one.
Then that was why I did all the things I've done over the years, and it would be worth it. And of course, thankfully, I was able to save multiple people over the years. Well, I see this the same way, and it was the mission. And if I could inspire someone else to do the same, then it would be mission. And so you are, sir, a part of something that I feel honored.
We're always going to be
a part of that.
Brother.
Yeah, we always are. Yeah. And knowing that you've taken this route and knowing how much of an impact you're having makes me feel so good.
I don't know how big it is, but I'm trying. Like I said, this makes one, like you always get a little feedback from the local people that say, hey, buddy, I was watching this show. That's a huge thing for me. You know what I mean? I do. I was like, really? You watched the whole thing from end to end? They're long. My format's long.
You do go deep.
Yeah, I do, man. Like, I want to talk it out. Like, if Derek said 2.5 hour shows, Neil, and I'm like, yeah, we could do it. And he'll be like, do you want to cut them in half and release them each week?
Yeah, that's kind of what Joe Rogan does.
Oh,
that dude runs forever.
I think he does like 4-hour podcasts.
I mean, it's incredible.
But, as long as we got something to talk about and it's flowing good,
sure.
You don't want to cut it off and shorten it, but like everybody's got a little different feel for it. Like yours is more of like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, that's what and,
and then mine is, it can be an hour and a half to 2 hours sometimes. Derek's like over there going, I got to pee, man. You can cut that out, Derek, if you want to. I don't care. Yeah. So, but anyway, thank you for having me on and telling my story. And I just hope we all keep continuing to do
What would be the final
things.
message you want to leave everybody?
Man, just be charitable in life. Like, look how to help your neighbors. And I don't mean like from a standpoint of just financial. I talked about that in my little short form the other day. It could be politics. Like, go vote. Encourage the people to get out and vote. Be a part of it. If your candidate don't win, still get behind the guy that won because you're stuck with him for the next 4 years.
That's the truth.
It's your local representative, regardless if you voted for him all the time. I hear all people, and there's a very big division in us now because of politics, like our community is. Like, that's your president. No, buddy. I know you didn't vote for him, but he's yours too.
It's our president.
So he's ours. So
hope for the best.
I just don't get caught up in the news. Don't feed into too much social media. Try to exercise, seeing both sides as much as you can. Try to find the common ground, and try to help people as much as you can in any way possible. It doesn't have to be financially. We talked about that. But if you have the resources, man, don't be afraid. Don't think about, they're just going to get a drink. Maybe that dude needs a drink. Maybe he's just trying to get over, that's how I see life, So it's a little different, but, just try not to work yourself to death and try to see the good in people and, and try to help your fellow neighbors, I'm not a religious guy, but those are all the principles of everything that you do, So,
and this is faith-based here. So, and it all does correlate in the fact that if you're doing the right thing for the right reason from your heart, you're going to have the same kind of
give with a kind heart. That's what I always say. Man. It could be
give something, but you're not expecting anything in return. That's the kind heart part.
No agenda.
Right.
Just love. That's what I always say. And if we could all live that, it'd be a much peaceful place, man.
Man, you ain't kidding. Could you imagine if everybody just put nice stuff on social media?
Wow.
It would probably make everybody feel healthier.
It would.
That's actually the whole point behind what I do is let's just be one voice at least.
Sure.
Let's be one voice, and now it's two.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to continue to grow. Well, Neil, thank you for coming down here, man.
Awesome, bro.
And you're probably you got a podcast when? When's your next one?
A Sunday. I'm doing one with a local lady named Sarah Wooten.
Okay.
And she don't own a business or anything like that, but she's just amazing. I picked up on her on TikTok. And I thought, man, that chick's in Hernando, because she would start popping in all these stores I knew. And she's another one like us who's like trying to promote other people and their good things. Cool. And she's got a healthy lifestyle and she's got a medical background, but she stepped away from it to kind of start focusing more on her children and how to live a healthier life,
Nice.
Insulin resistance type topics and things like that. So she's very knowledgeable, you know, and also just a character, you know what I mean? Like
that's fun.
Yeah, that's the part of it. So we had to reschedule the other day because her mother had an appointment and I was like, hey, no big deal. No pressure. We'll do it another time. So that's the next one that's coming up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, guys, definitely go out there, check out the local yokels, look up the Feed My Lambs Ministries. You don't have to become a part of it if you don't have the time, but donations are always welcome. Obviously, that is something that is much needed whenever you're trying to especially provide a service like they are. They're feeding kids out there, which is amazing. And come out to the, I'm going to put all the stuff in the show notes.
October 11th.
Come out to the car show, the barbecue drive. It is going to be amazing.
Giving away the free truck, or it's a raffle for $100.
Raffle for the truck, which $100 feels like a free truck if you win.
It is. That's what I thought too. So,
it pretty much is that. And check it out, man. Neil, continue to do great things. Thank you so much, sir. I'm proud to call you a friend, and I look forward to seeing where you go next, man.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
To all my listeners out there, I want to tell you thank you for tuning in each and every week. Please continue to send those amazing comments. Check out what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. We got some big stuff happening. I love you guys. Go to my website, motivatecoachcamp.com. Subscribe to my YouTube. And until next time, Coach Camp out.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time.